السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأصلي وأسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome again to another episode of the Friday Talk organized by Islamic Information Center. So my presentation today will be about our trip to NASA, and then I'll tell you a little bit of some details of what we did there. But let me begin by sharing with you a slide that we presented in أولا نبدأ بالقرآن الكريم. يقول الله عز وجل. We start with ayat from verses from Surah Al Imran. Allah Ta'ala says, إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار. So these are the verses that made, Muslim scientists to think and to contemplate and to, pursue the field of science and physics and geology and mathematics and astronomy. So the revelation of the Quran triggered this massive, you can say even explosion in knowledge and scientific discoveries by the Muslim scholars. And this, I just picked one slide from our workshop in 2024, early this year, where we presented this slide to show that the Muslim world was living at a golden age in terms of science for centuries, from the 5th century to the 16th century. So for 1100 years, Muslims were pioneers in the field of science, in the field of medicine, in the field of engineering. And of course, I'm sure many of you have attended. If not, then you need to go and find these presentations where Sheikh Hafid and I and others covered a lot about Muslim contribution to science. Now, sadly, there was a decline, and we started having the industrial revolution, and now we have the information technology revolution. So the science and advancement is no longer in our hands, is no longer in our control. We don't make rockets, we don't make aeroplanes, we don't make computers, we don't do even discoveries and in the field of medicine. So we rely almost entirely on our medicine, on our treatments, and on our technology from others. And this happened, after the 16th or 17th century. But by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we hope. And I was listening, I think even reading what Sheikh Hafid was writing yesterday in the forum, that the future is good. Let's be optimistic, because we believe in al-arda yarithuha ibadiya salihin. At the end, it is the salihun, it is the righteous who will take over and rule justly and fairly. Now, we embarked on a mission to the West, let's say to United States, for the sole reason to seek knowledge, to seek the technology and advancements that have been achieved in that land, for us to learn from them, and what they took initially from us, honestly. So we went there, and I'll talk a little bit about it now. I want to ask how many people have heard of the Sultan Qaboos Cultural Center. This is not in Oman, this is in Washington, D.C. Now, this man of vision, this man of wisdom, this man who built us this renaissance, also spread knowledge all over the world. So this is one of his legacies. He built a building, or sorry, the building is rented. I wouldn't say built. Let's say the Sultan Qaboos Cultural Center rented this beautiful building in the center of Washington D.C., and it has got a CEO or a director. His name is Dr. Majid Al Khalili. His assistant is Halim Al Balushi. They have staff. They have libraries. They do seminars. They do hold lectures. And also, may I suggest that since this is coming under the umbrella of at least in the past under the umbrella of Diwan and the cultural center مركز الثقافي للسلطان قابوس والعلوم led by His Excellency Habib al-Riyami, and we are all sort of including the Grand Mosque, we're under that umbrella. May I suggest that IIC participate in going to Washington DC to this beautiful building and its great halls to talk about Islam and to talk about the usual. We have tens and probably even hundreds of presentation material. So people like Dr. Yusuf at Harvard, any of us who's willing to go to travel to United States. And I did, alhamdulillah, a small da'wah there myself, walillah alhamdu wa shukr, telling them about Muslim scholars and Muslim achievements. So this is a platform. I would like to take this opportunity to inform IIC leadership that there is a cultural center and they're looking for materials, presentation materials from Oman to tell the diplomats, to sell the dignitaries, and also students who are probably more than 1,000, I'm told, currently studying. At one time, there were about 3,000 Omanis studying. There are cross-posted, there are, university lecturers and doctors who are in the United States on an exchange program. So I thought I'd tell you about this center. And this is where we started, to be honest. We arrived here to celebrate the National Day. They welcomed us, and there were at least 150 people. I'm guessing probably 200 Omanis, non-Omanis, diplomats who attended. Now, the purpose for this uh, cultural center is to enhance cultural ties and understanding between Oman and the US and to promote Oman's rich cultural heritage, history, tradition. So there we go. We have a platform in United States. Maybe Sheikh Hafid Al-Kindi can sign for a business ticket and accommodation for 1 week and for anyone who is lucky to go there. And I'm sure Dr. Majid Al-Khalili will be very, very happy to host, our lecturers, our presenters, and give them, an audience. And also Sheikh Hafid make at the hotel, inshallah, good hotel. And we'll start having volunteers from now. Who's going to present at the Sultan Qaboos Cultural Center? What the subject is? And and don't worry about attendees, Dr. Majid Al-Khalili and Halim Al-Bulushi. And by the way, I mentioned that to them, so we should be okay. Now, also, this building or center is a home to collection of traditional Omani artifacts, photographs, manuscripts, and it engages with U.S. public in exploring Oman's contribution to regional peace, diplomacy, and sustainability. So it collaborates with institutions like universities, museums, and other cultural organizations. Of course, it promotes academic exchange programs for scholars interested in Oman. It also has a visitor section. It's free to enter and with admission to anyone, and it opens every day except weekends. So I'm just, your audience is not in front of me, but I would have asked, how many know about this center? Raise up your hand. It is in Washington, D.C. It's managed by Omanis, led by nothing to do. I mean, the embassy is something else, by the way. The embassy is totally in a different location. This is a building dedicated to spreading culture and about Oman. Okay, so it also has, the Arabic language classes. I think, I'm sure almost everybody knows about the one that is in Manah, the Sultan Qaboos Cultural Center, where they teach Arabic language to others. And when we had our Belarus president, as the Belarus president was here a few days ago, there was a translator. That one lady studied here in Manah. She studied, I think her name is Claudia. So she studied in Manah and became a translator for the president of Belarus. I think for those of you who follow the news, must have seen her with His Majesty Sultan Haytham, Hafidhullah, and the Belarus president. She's in the middle, always doing the translation. So she went to school 2 hours to study Arabic at the Sultan Qaboos Cultural Center in Manah. So they organize lectures. There we go, lecture series to organize talks, discussion, topics like Oman history, political and global contribution, and also Islam and science and so on. So this is part of their mission. This is part of their. So we should take opportunity as IIC to communicate with them. I have their emails, I have their phone numbers. They're wonderful, great people, and they're willing and more than to welcome us. Okay, they also reach for the students who are studying there in the US. This is the center. We took a big Omani flag. Ahlam, is everything okay so far? Or I'm talking to myself?
No, it's fine.
It's fine. Okay, okay. Inshallah, we don't lose internet. We don't everything. I hope everything is okay. Now, this is a big Omani flag we put outside the cultural center, where I told you there are like at least I would say 150 to 200 attendees. They brought us good food, and we presented. The students presented. They gave us a wonderful hospitality on the National Day. So our visit coincided with the National Day. By the way, the one you see at the center with the suit and a tie, that is Dr. Majid Al Khalili. Yeah, with the suit and a tie uh, to the left or center left. He is the head of the cultural center. And at the background, you can see the Khanjar Omani and the plaque there. Okay, these are now the students. This podium has a khanjar inside, and at the background you can see Sultan Qaboos, Tayyib Allah Farah, and His Majesty Sultan Haytham Hafidahullah, their photos. That is in Washington. The girls presenting about Oman, about its culture, about history. They loved it, by the way. They did a wonderful job, these students. They were so eloquent, so prepared, and they made everybody proud. And Dr. Majid Al Khali even said, at their age, I couldn't speak any hardly English. Now they speak with a beautiful accent. So this shows that we are seeking knowledge, we're pursuing knowledge, no matter where it is. But we keep our identity, we keep our culture. As you can see, they're wearing the Omani clothes in Washington, D.C., going in the streets, proudly showing our identity, our culture, and our character. We're doing da'wah even by our character, by being simple, by being humble, by being kind. They look at us as ambassadors and so on. This is now inside the cultural center. At the back there, at the center with the tooth inside is Dr. Ziad. I think I have a problem pronouncing his second name. He is from Salala. Dr. Ziad, I will try. Za'banut. I made a mistake, Dr. Ziad. Please forgive me. That is his name. He is the cultural attaché in Washington, D.C. Very helpful, very kind. And these are the students who visited NASA. And at the back, the three students were Ahmed bin Majid Al Munai, alumni. They studied in Ahmed bin Majid, and now they're in United States pursuing their uh, degree and postgraduate careers. As I said, the girls did a wonderful job by talking about Oman. Each one of them, there were 8, each one talked about something, culture, food, you name it. And by the way, the attendees, there were many, many Americans there, so diplomats and visitors and dignitaries. So they listened to this and they were happy to see this. Now, NASA, you are screen sharing. Okay, NASA, I have, by the way, a NASA badge here. You can see what is NASA? What is their purpose? What is there for us to learn from NASA? How do we go to NASA? By the way, if anyone here has children or you yourself want to go to NASA, I'm not doing a promotion, but me and my colleagues from Oman Astronomical Society, we have kind of came up with an idea to take students, adults, even if you are 8 years old, you like science, you like rockets, you like astronomy, you're fascinated by the idea of space, we will have at least 4 to 5 visits again to US because we have established great contacts with NASA, with the Omani embassy, with the cultural attaché. So all of them said, guys, the Omanis rarely come here for such mission. So please tell them we're here. It's easy. It's nice. Your purpose is to come and see this industry, so you're most welcome. Now, NASA, it was founded in 58, the headquarters in DC, and I'll talk about the headquarters and the person who we dealt with a little bit later on. Her name is Cassie Wells. She's the deputy chief of NASA. She has 18,000 people, engineers working under her with a budget of 25 billion US dollars. So NASA is a government-owned space exploration which pursues in scientific discovery and astronautic research. So they advance knowledge in Earth, our own planet, our solar system, and the universe in general. So you have to remember when you see NASA and space, it's looking at the universe in general, not only in space, which we'll talk about a little bit later about how Oman launched its first satellite known as Duqm-1, a rocket on the 5th of December. So we are pursuing that path because we want to be self-sufficient in our own satellites and manage our own telecommunication system, our own security system by being able to launch our own satellites from Oman, and the place is called Duqm in the Haima or in the Wusta region. So in the future, the vision into 2040 is to have our own satellites, be independent, not to rely on others to give us data, to give us images, and so on. That's why we have now 21 companies here in Oman who are specialized in space technology. 21. There were only 10 in 2023 and 0, I would say, 10 years ago. We have 21 companies creating job opportunities, creating, what you call as scientific discoveries and so on, making drones, because as a nation, we have to be self-sufficient. We have to have our own space astronauts. We have to have our own satellite. We should not rely on others. If they switch off all the satellites that, if somebody is not happy with us, they can easily disconnect us from this internet, from all communications, and, we go back many years. So the idea is to have our own. Now, what is the mission of NASA? They have the Artemis program, which we were introduced to and given a lecture about it, to send, man or woman back to space, to the moon in 2025. So it also supports SpaceX. And by the way, SpaceX is coming, Elon Musk company is coming big in the space industry. And chances are NASA might be privatized, we are told, and taken over by Elon Musk. So there are many missions coming. Like, I think for those of us who have approached 60 or gone beyond, every one of us knows about the Apollo program. It was the talk of the day in the late 60s, early 70s. You mentioned Apollo 11, you mentioned Apollo 12, and everybody will remember where they were, what they were doing while man, landed on the moon. But of course, there are other missions like the Perseverance. I think you've heard about it, which is going to Mars to collect samples and send back to Earth. The Curiosity project, and of course the Hubble telescope, which has now been replaced by the James Webb telescope. And what this telescope does is basically it takes images of far deep into the universe to tell us how it all started, and from that we learn on how to prepare ourselves for future. And the ISS, the International Space Station, which is a collaboration of, I believe, 20 countries, most of them Europe, China, and Asia. Yeah, none. I don't think there's any Muslim or Arab country involved in ISS. But that is our mission. That is our aim, for Muslims to go back again in the space, in science, and become pioneers as they were before. So how did this NASA trip start? Well, I gave a lecture to Ahmed bin Majid, which I did the same here. I think I've done it maybe 2-3 times, about the universe, about the wonder of the universe. And, they loved it. So they said to me, how can we go to another level? How can we make it even, more interesting? I said to them, if you like it, we can do, stargazing. I bring my telescope, we look at the night sky. But we did that, by the way, at Bandar al Karan. But we can go even further. Why not go to NASA and see how they launch rockets and see how far they have reached in the space technology? They liked it. And in the beginning, it was like, like just an idea, like maybe, okay, something we can do. And I know, like, we have thousands of ideas we come up and were never implemented. But thankfully, they were very serious. I really express my absolute gratitude to the Ahmed bin Majid, board members for taking this seriously from day one. And even when I used to come to my family and tell them, Ahmed bin Majid proposed that we go to NASA, and we might go with students and they will all be girls. They were going like, wow, they said like, I used, come on, that will never happen. It became like, that's not something easy. It's too far, it's too expensive, it's too difficult, and but we did it, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. So after the talk, the board of the Ahmed bin Majid really, wanted to go ahead with it. And when I sensed they were serious, we started. We started preparing. It took us, by the way, don't think this trip happened in 1 week or 1 month. It took 10 months to prepare, 10 months. So it's not an easy thing. You will face many challenges. The school had to get approval from Minister of Education, Minister of Transport, Minister of this. Our Oman Astronomical Society had to get approval from Minister of Tanmiyah, Minister of Foreign Affairs, communication with Washington, D.C., our cultural attaché. It was a very, very long process. And I think in some stages it was easy to give up. The visa process itself was very difficult because now there are so many applications that the waiting period is up to now 6 months. So if you want to go to US right now, you go online. The next interview is in May or April 2025. So there were challenges, but Alhamdulillah we overcame. Now this is Casey Swells on the right. She's the deputy of chief of NASA. She came to Oman and here talking to the Ahmed bin Majid girl. And you'll notice one of the girls there with the NASA t-shirt already excited about, going to NASA. And she told them, please come, you will love it. And Casey was given that tip. I hope she came to the Jama Al Akbar. I really hope. I think she did. I think she did. I forgot to ask her that, but I was told this delegation visited Jama Al Akbar. And if they did, I hope they visited IIC. Now, Casey is a dynamic woman, very down to earth. She has a huge responsibility, but she told the girls, come to NASA. I'll be there to help you, assist you, whatever you need. You will love it. You're going to enjoy it. So she said to us, come. And we went. And she fulfilled her word by coming to our hotel to check on us, to see everything is okay. So thanks to her, giving this, by the way, was Bandar Khairan. So I did for Oman Astronomical Society, did what you call a stargazing night. So we looked at Saturn and Jupiter and Venus that night. The moon wasn't visible, so they loved it. So they said, this is something we want to pursue. We had 3 telescopes that night. So Casey and her delegation and a school from Ahmed bin Majid and Oman Astronomical Society. Now this is Casey telling them, we will go, come to America, come to NASA, all girl team. Don't ask me why Ahmed bin Majid decided to take all girl team. You have to ask the school. But it was a wise decision. The girls were dynamic, impressive, smart, intelligent. And I believe if you see the interviews in a number of channels after they came back, they look mature, they look smart, they have confidence, and this will change their life in terms of pursuing their education. This is Bandar Khairan saying, we will go, ready, and then we started. Now, this is Casey as well. Another really, really dynamic personality is المستشارة صابرة بنت أحمد الهوتية. She's now the acting ambassador in Washington, D.C. They came to our hotel, both of them. Can you imagine? The acting ambassador coming to the hotel to check on the student. Is everything okay? They will help us as far as, arranging for anything that we want. So this is what you get cooperation. Because when Casey was here, she was treated with the Oman hospitality. She says, I've never seen it anywhere. So she wanted also to give us hospitality in DC. Now, this is the Kennedy Space Center, the entrance. And you can see at the back the Atlantis mission at the back there, the pink, is it pink or orange rocket? Okay, so what is the Kennedy Space Center? So from Washington D.C., after celebrating Eid al-Watr, after spending time with the diplomats and so on, we took a flight to Florida, Merritt Island. We landed in Orlando, and we traveled by vans and so on to our hotel. Kennedy Space Center was established in '62. It's named after John F. Kennedy because he had that famous speech that you will go to the moon and come back. And the place is, by the way, 55 kilometers long. The bus tour itself can take up to 2 hours. It's big, it's massive. There are so many facilities, rocket assembly facilities, the launching facilities, and so on. So they have also where they test the launching rocket like Saturn V and so on. Okay, so this Kennedy Space Center is not only a center where you visit, but it is also an active a space platform where you have shuttles rockets being, sent to the space. So they hosted interplanetary missions, including Voyager, Curiosity, Perseverance, and so on. And of course, Apollo 11 and Apollo program happened at the Kennedy Space Center. Now, what many people don't know is the Kennedy Space Center is the launching site, but the mission control is in Houston, like maybe 3,000 miles away. The reason is that they don't want to have both in one, mainly for security reasons. So the mission control, when they say 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever, what is it? Lift off. That happens in Houston, not in Merritt Island, Florida. So the control is in Houston, Houston Mission Control at the Johnson Center, while the launching and the facilities and the factories are in Florida. And the headquarters, Qiyada, or the headquarters is in DC, where the leadership team is. Okay, so as I said, there are so many things to see, really, because if you want to go to Kennedy Space Center, we went there for 2 days, and believe it or not, even if you spend a week, is not enough because it's big, it's massive. There are so many things to do, and if you want to go even step further, you can opt to be given a training. So they will train you on how to become an astronaut and put you in a simulation program. So you'll spend 3 days or 2 days depending on what you want to do. Of course, it doesn't mean that you will go to space, but they'll give you an idea. So they also have, display of historic rockets, and the most beautiful one, the most amazing that you will stand below and look at, is the Saturn V rocket. It's just massive. It just takes your breath away, really. Your jaws literally drop. It's massive, and I mean massive. You look like, in aeroplanes are small. This is a big, big thing, the rockets. They're massive. And they have, by the way, a place they put the rockets called the Rocket Garden. So that's one of the places we visit. This is the biggest sort of open building. There are no floors. It's open. This is where they assemble the rocket. And these are the Ahmed bin Majid students visiting that center. They met an astronaut called Charlie Walker. He was very happy to talk to our students and give them the inspiration talk. He has spent, I think, he went there 3 times to space, and we had one-to-one chat with him. And this is really a special event to talk to an astronaut who has an experience, and they ask him beautiful questions. And we have recorded those questions, and hopefully we can share with you. They ask him, why did you become an astronaut? What are the challenges? What were the things that you are afraid of most? Very nice, interesting question. And Charlie Walker was very happy to answer their questions. So talking one-to-one to a legendary astronaut who has a huge experience in space. This is one of the rockets, so you can see how the jet propulsion is massive. That's why you have your fuel and your ignition from here. And all these rockets usually use hydrogen, liquid hydrogen, and not fuel or gasoline to give that ignition and fire. This is the rocket garden. And going back to Oman, going back to Islam, going back to our culture, going back to our da'wah. Believe it or not, we were doing da'wah in a way that you cannot think of. Us being disciplined, the girls making lines, walking politely, entering. So I have 8 girls with another 4 mutahajjibat, uh, mushrifat or supervisors, they call them chaplain. So whenever we go, people look at us with admiration and respect. So whenever we enter, I even went to one of the beautiful things I saw. It was, I think, in Florida at the airport. We were making a line, and one security guy came. It was a very long line. Said, "You are from NASA. You please come here." So they gave us like a VIP treatment. Went into the check-in without even having to wait in line. Now, listen to this. This is very important. هذا من فضل ربي سبحانه وتعالى خالق السماء والأرض. إنه for me, I took the entire responsibility. ولا فخر. Having been there multiple times, but I can never claim it was me or the supervisor. It was Allah from Sama اللي حفظنا وستر علينا, made everything easy for us. It's a huge responsibility to be in New York, to be in DC, to be in Florida. But if your intentions are good and to tawakkal ala Allah and you make dua, wallahi, Allah Ta'ala sends angels to protect you. Honestly, it was a huge responsibility. But nobody can credit for these girls to go to America, spend 11 days, do so many things, and come back to their family. Only Allah Ta'ala makes it safe and protects you. لك الحمد والشكر يا رب العالمين. Now, this is one of the most beautiful things that we saw, the launching of a satellite. I've been there a number of times, never saw one because they keep delaying it, or no, we don't have a launch today. Guess what? We go there and we see a launch. And the girl called, I forgot her name, Awishdan, sorry, she took a beautiful video of the launch. I will show you at the end. So to see a launch is a very, very good experience. And these are one of the rockets that you see. By the way, I will repeat again and again, whoever is interested, whether you're a student, whether you have children or grandchildren, yourself, you want to go to NASA, talk to us. We will, inshallah, start having programs because it really opens up your mind. Especially, I was with my neighbor yesterday. He called me to his house. He has a son. He's 14 years old. He told me, Abdul Wahab, this child, he saw you, it was given a good media cover. So he said he wants to go to NASA. I told him, okay, what do you know about space? Wallahi, my brothers and sisters, this 14-year-old told me so much about dark energy, the black holes, and he said, I have a dream to go to NASA. And luckily I had one badge like this, I gave it to him. So let's link this with knowledge, with understanding, with expanding our horizon, and for those children who have passion in rocket science, in space, let us help them. So inshallah, I promise we'll have 4 to 5 visits, and we have good connections, whether it's NASA, whether it's Oman Embassy, to make this travel possible. And our travel is purely scientific. It's purely also da'wah. Whenever we get an opportunity, we can take our little booklets. We took everything about Oman from the Ministry of Tourism. We had booklets telling them about our culture. I did not take, to be honest, from the Islamic Center because we did not want to attract any unnecessary attention. But if for example in future we feel that there's nothing wrong, we can take booklets from the Islamic Center and we give, and and we ask the embassy if that is okay, and I don't see there's a problem. because our mission, our intentions are good. We are here to share our culture. And these books are published by the Information Center, which comes under the Grand Mosque under the Omani government. This is us. Wherever we go, we put the Omani flag at the entrance of NASA. So I went to a security guy and I said, we have a flag of our country. We want to put, you have to ask permission because we don't want to do something and then have trouble. So this again shows that you can take books. I don't see any problem. So he said, please go ahead. You want us to help you? I said, no, no, no. We said, we'll do it ourselves. So they said, please feel free. You want to put your flag? Go ahead. That's what we did. Again, here with Cassius Wells and Sabra Al-Houthi, the acting ambassador, the team, the students, the supervisor. So this is almost the entire team. I think you can see the supervisors on the left. Now, is it just visiting, taking pictures and having fun and then coming back? No. The students are engaged in a program that I introduced to them. It's called ISAC or ISCC. It's basically looking for asteroids, looking for moving objects in the night sky in collaboration with NASA. They have now pursued that. I gave them a training on how to do this research, in collaboration with NASA. And inshallah, soon they will finish submitting the project, and they will be given a certificate from NASA. So imagine being given a certificate from NASA when you're in grade 11 and 10. As you go on, you put that in your CV, or you put it, when you graduate, or even during graduation, during studies, it will boost your CV or your LinkedIn. There's LinkedIn. You put anything you put, it goes to LinkedIn. I don't know much about LinkedIn, by the way, because I'm not looking for a job. I think we're done with the job. So, yeah. Wrote it down. So, Ahlam, we test it? Ahlam.
I'll go ahead.
Bismillah. This was by Wisdom. If you don't see it, I'll stop it.
No, it's clear. What about sound?
Sound is not there. It's okay. There's nothing. Sound is nothing. It's just an explosion. Probably you don't want to hear. It almost shakes the earth. Now, here they're making noise, shouting. You don't hear the sound, right? It's okay. Don't worry about it. They're just shouting, and the sound usually comes about 15 seconds. This is taken by an Omani student. So somebody saying OMG. These are Americans. أنا نقول سبحان الله. So really, really wonderful experience. Very lucky, really, to witness a launch. Yeah, extremely lucky. Okay, I go back here. I think I'm done. Thank you very, very much. It was given a very wide coverage by the media. أحسنتم. جزاكم الله خير على حسن استماعكم. I will
Thank you.
take questions, discussions, please.
Did you attend the launch of the Omani satellite?
No, I did not. I wish I was invited, and if it was open, I would have gone. And we tried to attend as Omani Astronomical Society, but it was given for only few to attend. The reason is for security reasons. This is our first launch. We don't want to, have any risk, so I did not attend. But inshallah, the future ones will attend.
Sure. So you talked a lot about going and attending. You didn't talk about the cost of doing all of this.
Okay, I think Ahlam, you're interested. Okay, I can sense that. And Ahlam, I'll put your name down. So be ready. So the cost is not much. It will cost you 1,950 riyals to cover your ticket, your stay, the visits, the entrance fees, everything, your food, your transport. So it will cover everything. 1,950. It will be 10 days. You will see a lot. You'll be involved in programs, in simulations, and you'll have a one-to-one talk with an astronaut. And there's so much you will see, so much, to be honest. So
Inshallah,
that is the money, that's the cost for us when we do it. But when Ahmed bin Majid did it, it was much more, I'm sure. I'm sure because Ahmed bin Majid went all the way for getting us very, very expensive hotel, going to fine restaurants. I think for us, we will probably not take you McDonald's, but we'll give you a lot of shawarma, I think. I'm just joking.
It's cheaper than Hajj.
It is cheap. It is absolutely, but it will change. It's يعني, you understand, because when people, if I ask you, do you know anyone who has been to NASA? Do you know anyone who has, I mean, you worked in PDO, having met so many engineers, so many. You never hear I went to NASA and I visited, a rocket. It's just even when we're in DC, they say you went to NASA. It's like the forbidden zone, or the place where so sophisticated, complicated, is beyond our imagination. I would rather go to Disneyland, and it's only next door. So that's the thing, Ahlam. So if you want Ahlam, inshallah, you can join us.
You
Or
have
anyone you know.
brother Abu Jabir.
يا السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
كيف الحال سيد عبد الوهاب البوسعيدي؟
أهلا وسهلا أبو جابر، حياك الله. كيف صحة؟ طيب.
الحمد لله. ما شاء الله ما شاء الله ما شاء الله. يعني first of all I want to congratulate all of you who have participated in this. I think this is very historical trip actually. I think never like this happened before. And I think it's really historical, and it's worth even a small booklet, writing a small booklet on this. I just want to highlight a few comments. I think it's very important to realize these things happened from at least three levels, the reason behind it. Number one is, as you mentioned, Sharia. Our religion is actually encouraging us all the time to seek knowledge. We know the first word in Quran is Iqra. We know that in astronomy, Quran has said, وَعَلَمَاتٍ وَبِالنَّجْمِ هُمْ يَهْتَدُونَ. Astronomy is teaching us, first of all, the beauty of the universe. Second thing is how to navigate, and people used to know how to travel in the sea, like Ahmed bin Majid, which is the name of the school now, but Ahmed bin Majid is our navigator who learned a lot from astronomy before he started contributing to the world, not only to Oman, as somebody who has used astronomy in marine navigation. And also astronomy is also, we know from Quran that is also rajm li-shayateen, and it's punishing shayateen. So our religion from the beginning, before we were born, this thing was already there in the Quran. So there is a motive to understand astronomy and to learn more into this, even though astronomy does not create any jobs in the job market today, but it's driven by knowledge and enlightenment, not necessarily by job creation in the market. If you go for job creation in the market, astronomy will not be taught in Oman, because the very little is employment in astronomy, not only in Oman, but generally in the world. So it's knowledge driven, it's aspiration driven. Second point, of course, I want to highlight to the student and to the community here is that what we have seen in this trip and what you're presenting, Said Abdul Wahab, is passion driven. It's not like you are paid for this. I know you a long time ago, you are a geologist, or you were a geologist in PDO. We worked there together before, and I knew you from my interest in history in the Horn of Africa. And later on, I came to know that you are also involved in astronomy, and all of this is your passion. It's not like a paid job. And even this trip, you've been doing it from a passion point of view. You're not like an employee of Ahmed bin Majid School or any ministry. So I want to, highlight this important character of yours that is important for us, for all of us to have it, to drive our knowledge and our understanding in this universe from a personal passion point of view, not like there's a job there, therefore I'm going, or there is a materialistic interest, therefore I'm doing it. No, it's just knowledge and love of knowledge, and get to know, what is useful in this world when it comes to give your mind, the fuel, which is knowledge. Last but not least, of course, there are organizations which are supporting this, ministries, schools, centers like NASA, government, airport authorities. When they saw you there, they give you special respect and treat you like VIPs. You see, these organizations are there to make things easy. Of course, there are other organizations to make things tough, but your trip shows that a lot of organizations made things easy, including I'lam, including media. So therefore, I just want to encourage everybody to take advantage of these organizations. And you're also launching a program to help people to go and visit. These are programs handled by some of these organizations, and some of it are just individually handled. And I want to encourage everyone listening to this to take advantage of this and have some passion to do something for their own, or for their kids, or for their neighbors, or for the community. And also to learn from you personally what was driving you this. It wasn't money, it wasn't profit. There is something in you that's driving you to do all of these things, and you're not doing only astronomy. You have other things like history, science, and so on. Jazakallah khair, Sayyid Abdul Wahab, and I just wanted to pass on this message because there is a community of students and parents here listening. So Jazakallah khair, mashkoor.
For this, by the way, is Dr. Muhammad Al-Mughairi, a renowned educator, researcher, with a very strong academic background and with a very, very long experience in the oil industry. He has worked also for the government sector, and to hear him, giving us compliments and telling us that this is a historical visit, and it only encourages us to do even more. Jazakallah khair, Dr. Muhammad. Thank you so much for your kind words.
Allah yabarak feek, Sayyid Abdul Wahab. Jazakallah khair anta aydan. I had a question actually on the chat about these days we're talking about digital transformation and fourth industrial revolution and cyberspace and so on. Does NASA has a virtual space center that any one of us can access it, can do projects, can just navigate the center, or going into forums and discussions on the virtual side of things and online, or can buy like a VR camera and get involved in NASA programs and so on. I'm interested to hear, that cyber world of NASA.
The answer is yes. And it's very, very active. And I will tell you, it's free. Most of it is free, unless you want to go advanced. So they have virtual simulation programs. One of them is the one I mentioned. You can get involved into a program called, NASA Citizen Science. So if you just go to Google and type NASA Citizen Science, it will take you directly to this website. And there are at least, I would say, maybe 30 to 40 different projects. You select the one you find, interesting to you. So I think all of them are free. I think, I'm not sure though. But the ones that we did is free, and they give you even a certificate after that. So type NASA Citizen Science. There are between 30 to 40 projects. Choose any one of them, register, and then usually they will ask you to form a team, because instead of being on your own, so have a few others with you and send them an email after register, and they'll start sending you the app. And the app, you download it free of charge. They give you the license, access, everything, and it's a beautiful thing. It reminded me going back to geology. If I show you back here, this is the kind of app. It's good. You can relate it to any of the seismologist. I forget the applications. It's been a long time. I remember Petrel. Petrel didn't have this. So this looks more like any of the seismologist applications. Maybe Ahlam remembers. It's been 10 years almost, by the way, since I retired. But it reminded me of going back and doing interpretations and evaluations. Very interesting. You know, it keeps your mind still active. Yes, the answer is yes, Dr. Muhammad.
Excellent, excellent. So maybe I would like to take this opportunity to just announce a little bit of an initiative from my side, which I need your support and support of those who know it. I have an interest to create a very small corner of virtual reality, environment, which includes cameras, a little bit of screens that can serve a little bit of an educational purpose for people to have a look and to navigate, but using VR cameras particularly. So this is just an initiative. I'm not a specialist in VR and virtual reality. So I will need support of who has this interest. I will provide the cameras, I will provide the stage and the screens and so on. But I need to form this team with you or with anyone who wants to get into this. And then we take this forward so that yeah, we can take this forward then and become very mobile so that we can go to schools, we can go to malls, we can go to airport and, let people try these cameras.
So I have somebody in my mind already. His name is Engineer Mudaffar bin Sultan al-Sharji. His father was a PDU employee. He is quite dynamic, interested in virtual reality, rocket science, and so on. And he's going to set up, so we can involve him and others, inshallah.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair wa Jum'ah Mubarak.
Barakallah. Is there any other questions from anyone else? Or comment or feedback or criticism or whatever? Feel free. This astronomy, is it difficult that everybody is quiet? It's not difficult. Let me see.
It's so nice and so clear, yeah. MashaAllah.
Barakallah fikum. Barakallah fikum.
If no one else, we can conclude, Abdul Wahab.
Jazakumullah. Thank you so much, Ahlan. Thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity. And we look forward, along with Dr. Muhammad and yourself, being an engineer yourself, and whoever is interested, we can take this further by spreading, the knowledge of, space and technology. وشكرا وبارك الله فيكم وجمعتكم مبارك.
جزاكم الله خير. كل عام طيبين بهذه المناسبة. السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
Conclude the dua, Abdul Wahab.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا هب لنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم إنا نسألك بأسمائك الحسنى وصفاتك العلى في هذه اليوم الجمعة الطيبة المباركة أن تنصر المسلمين في غزة وفي فلسطين وفي لبنان وفي أنحاء العالم. اللهم انصرهم من أعدائك يا رب العالمين الظالمين الطاغين. اللهم انصرهم نصرا مبينا يا رب العالمين. اللهم ارفع الإسلام رفعا رفيعا يا رب العالمين. صلى الله عليه وسلم.
أحسنت.
خير, and we see you all next week, inshallah.